Hey everybody, let's take a closer look at all 16 of the LEGO Series 15 collectible minifigures. These come individually in these random blind bag packs, and we're going to look at each of them in the order they're shown on the collection sheet. So we start with the farmer, who comes with a pitchfork and a pig. The farmer himself has a bright green colored torso and arms with just regular green printed onto it. Really makes it look textured. Gets that little bit of a plaid kind of look to it. And then his legs are sand blue and dark brown. Both colors of plastics that are actually molded together there. So it looks like he's got boots on, and you can see that the kind of plaid detail goes around the back, has a little bit of stitching work on the print on the overalls there. And the pig has nice printing on it as well. Looks pretty cool. Has dark brown that's printed on it. Gives it the spotted shapes on there. And the main color there is just the basic flesh tone. This new astronaut figure has an astronomical amount of printing relative to other astronaut figures that LEGO has done in the past, and this just has such a nice look to it because it's semi-realistic with the colors and the level of details, but then it brings in the classic LEGO Space logo, which is just so endearing. And they put that onto the suit and also onto this flag, which is printed on both sides. It has kind of a low metallic silver, so not a whole lot of chrome effects to it, but it is silver. And there's the classic space logo once again on the other arm. So the arms are actually printed differently. There's no print on the back of this whatsoever. He has the classic air tanks on the back. So a little bit of realistic, a little bit of modern, but then a little bit of classic and fantasy combined. The visor on this one, of course, is able to come down, so you can close that up completely. Maybe it looks a little bit more like a race car driver than anything, but got to take that off completely so you can see the rest of the face, which has a little bit of depth with the facial hair. This is the frightening knight, who has a lot of gunmetal gray elements, including the shield with the bear that's printed there with the glowing red eyes. He's got the gunmetal gray for the helmet and also for the pauldrons, and also the secondary color for the legs. Two color legs there with two colors of molding. He actually has print on his arms, which are gunmetal gray themselves. And just a little bit of paint going through. Not a whole lot of printing really going on for the back of the torso there, not a lot to see, but his weapon is a two-piece assembly. It's a mace with, again, gunmetal gray for a 3-long lightsaber blade, just a bar piece, and then attached to the end of that is a new little spiked piece that just fits over any type of bar, and that's actually rubbery. It's actually a little bit soft, so the spikes are able to kind of bend a little bit. There's an unobstructed view of his face too. This one is Clumsy Guy, and I guess he got a little bit of YouTube fame, and that's his channel logo there, so he got some t-shirts printed up. He's got a cast on one leg, so I guess he's either broken his leg, lower leg, ankle, or foot or something, and there are lots of little details, subtle little things that are printed on there. Folks, fans who have come along and signed his cast. The crutch pieces are going to be really interesting. It's going to be really interesting to see what different custom builders come up with for uses for these, because they've got 3 bar-sized attachment points on them with the 2 horizontals and then the vertical down at the base that can be stuck into things. You see just how that print goes well around one side of that one crutch as well. And also his head is completely bandaged up. No printing on the back of this one whatsoever. You see that the arms are short-sleeved and made with 2 different colors of plastic there. The blue color is actually dark azure, not the more common medium blue or just the regular medium azure, which is also a more common color. This is dark azure, one we don't get very much. This one LEGO calls Tribal Woman, and if anyone who's very familiar with different Native American cultures would like to correlate the specific details of her garb and accessories with any particular Native American nation, that would be really cool to see in the comments. But either way, you can see that there's a good amount of detail on this figure, but probably the most interesting thing about this one for many folks is the child, which is kind of a micro figure that they've created, all bundled up there. It has just a single anti-stud on the back to connect it to things. And you see that this figure actually comes with a backpack attachment point on it, and that's where you would hook up the baby to put it onto the back. This really fits over that bracket piece very well, so it kind of hides away the bracket itself and hugs right up against the back of the torso. That works out pretty nicely. The only thing that's really unfortunate about the baby piece here is that because of its design, because it's really meant to be attached like this, it's not really easy to carry it with two hands. You know, you can attach it to one hand, but when it comes to trying to do a two-handed pose with it, you end up kind of having to just balance it on top of the two hands, or at least on one of the hands. Also notice the printed feather piece, not a new mold there, but a new print. And this hair piece has the band with a little mini peg hole in the back to accommodate that. And the hair piece also has an additional hole in a more standard location just right in the center, so you can even attach something else there, or even double up on the feathers if you get more. This is the Flying Warrior, who has kind of three different colors of gold. There's the brighter gold color, the more proper gold color that's used for the print, and then the standard pearl gold, which is just a little bit on the orangish side, is used for the legs and the body and also the helmets. But then there's kind of an in-between there, a slightly brighter version of pearl gold that's used for the kind of pauldrons and upper armor, and also for the weapon, and I believe the wings are closer to that color as well. Just little indications of slightly different materials that are used there, and they just didn't ever get the pigments exactly the same. You know, the hues aren't perfectly aligned, but it's close enough. You know, officially it's just two different colors of gold that are used there. And there's a clearer look at the rest of the print on the front of the torso. This is the fawn, who has a printed flute accessory there, but the most interesting thing here by far is the new leg design. Two new molds for legs to get that mammal rear leg design. And it gets really thin as viewed from the side, but still allows normal articulation, so they still work like regular minifig legs. You can move them independently. They still fit within the same space, you know, the space of just a single brick. And yeah, it's something different for sure. Also, the head accessory on this one is made with two different colors of plastic, so the yellow is not a paint in this case. So the yellow actually does go all the way down to the base, so you can see where the kind of interface is between that head accessory piece and the head itself, so you get no kind of difference in there. And that was a nice choice that they went with that, rather than going with all colors on the outside, which could look a little bit disjointed. Next up is the Animal Control Officer, which I think is a really cool idea for a figure, and you can definitely see this being used in all sorts of imaginative situations in existing little Lego miniature layouts or miniature dioramas, or just for plain play. And it does come with the skunk as well. It's included in there. Notice you've got a print on the arm there, and the arm is done with two colors. The main color of the upper of the torso is sand blue. Comes with the net as well. The hair is dark brown here, and there's also some print along the side of each leg. That same line design comes down each side. Kind of a crease is what that is supposed to represent. And this one actually has two different faces for that head. So the front one that you were looking at first was more of the look when she realizes that she's been called on to take out a skunk from a neighborhood, but then she also has more of her default, yeah, I actually really love my job, you know, except when I have to come across a skunk. The skunk is made with a minimum amount of plastic, so it's not very solid. Let's get this out of the way, but the tail especially is quite very empty on this one. It's just a very hollow piece, but it looks pretty good. It looks pretty appropriate, and the printing on it is done pretty decently well and has a nice little bit of personality to the face, I'd say. This one is the janitor, who uses a lot of sand blue, including half sand blue arms, but overall, to be honest, this is not that exciting of a figure. The figure itself, you know, there's no printing on the arms, there's no printing on the back whatsoever, which would have been normal some years ago, but for the collectible figures of today, obviously, they just keep upping the ante. And so this one kind of falls behind in level of detail, but it introduces a brand new piece with this mop piece, which is just fit onto a long bar. I think it's a 6.6 long bar or something, either 6 or 6.6 long bar. And the mop piece just looks really cool. It's actually not a hair piece, though you could try to use it as one if you want to. I mean, that's entirely up to you. This is actually a reversible piece, though. You are able to use it the other way around, so attach it this way, and then you can have a mop that is facing in the downward direction. So it kind of adapts to gravity in that way. Here's the ballerina with the tutu piece that kind of fits down around the hips a little bit, makes up for its own thickness a little bit, kind of hides its connection point. There's print on the hair. The dark brown hair has some metallic silver and also some white print on that for kind of flower details. Some relatively subtle print for the legs with high metallic silver going around against the white for the shoes and the lacings. And then there's some print on the back as well. It is unfortunate that the yellow color used for the skin tone for the body on the torso doesn't really match the arms all that well. It may look a little bit more obvious here on camera than it does in reality, but when I just look at it with my plain eyes, I can definitely see that difference as well. It's more orangish with the print on the torso in comparison with a more greenish yellow color for the head and the arms. This one's called Laser Mech and adds to the ongoing family of alien robot figures with the same headpiece and just different color schemes. This one looks pretty cool to me. I'm really happy that they got a print on the wing pieces there. I was not expecting that at all. And the printing on the main armor is pretty cool, as is the print on the helmet with pretty clean lines that distinguish the black and the silver pretty well. You can see just a little bit of issue there, but nothing too major, you know, just a little bit of fuzziness. All together pretty cool. Also nice to get the medium azure hands, and there's what this one looks like with the armor and helmet removed. So that's just it for the print. There's no print to be seen on the back of this one whatsoever, but that's really not that big of a deal because it's so well covered on the back with the accessories. Next up is the Kendo fighter, who is dual wielding for some strange reason. I don't know much about Kendo, but I don't think that dual wielding is a normal thing, certainly not with equal-sized swords there, but they've taken just regular katanas and recolored them to tan, which is supposed to represent, I believe, the bamboo shinai. But given that they are katana pieces, you could easily see these as being actual practice swords, like wooden swords, so that kind of works either way. No printing to be seen on the back of this one, but wow, a very, very nice design for that new helmet piece. Wow, it's very deeply molded around the back. Just about everything's done in dark blue here, but there is print on the legs here. It's just kind of subtle. It's a little bit difficult to see the black printing that comes through there. Multiple colors applied to the front of the headpiece. And there's a look at the face and how that's printed. That's a pretty nice, pretty serious expression, and I like the facial hair on this one as well. This is the shark suit guy, the token guy in an animal outfit for this wave, and every time I look at this, I have to think of the Atlantis figure, but they are done completely differently because the new one here, the shark suit guy, is actually a guy in a shark suit. The old figure did not have space for a minifigure head inside of there, and interestingly, the old figure had regular minifig arms, whereas the new one gets the flipper style, fin style arm pieces. Still has a face on there that pretty much represents the personality and the look of what they put on the regular sharks now, the proper sharks. No print on the back of the actual minifig torso here, but that's a pretty good one, and it feels like it'll be a useful piece, even just to use the main outfit with the shark head on it and the tail and everything. That might be useful outside of a minifigure context. just so you can see his face a little bit better. You can see his nice bright smile there. He's definitely having a good day. But as the day progresses, he has an alternate face to express his emotions and his feelings as he starts to get too hot in this big old heavy suit. This is the wrestling champion figure, and I think it's really hard to not see this as an homage to the late great Ultimate Warrior. Rest in peace, warrior spirit. He's got the arm ties on there. The color scheme is definitely a throwback. It's not Ultimate Warrior hair exactly, but I think it's pretty clear what they were trying to do, given a little bit of respect to a legend of sports entertainment. An interesting figure, multiple colored legs there, done with the purple, attached to the bottom of the regular skin tone of yellow there, and a pretty interesting hair piece. Maybe not the most useful thing. No alternate face to be seen there, but a little bit of extra muscle detail to be seen around the back of the torso. But also that's the same trophy piece that we've gotten before, just done in pearl gold here. And he also has the belt on. This is the Jewel Thief with the grappling gun there, and a good way to get the Black Widow hairpiece in black. This one has interesting printing on it because with the legs you'll actually see dark blue printing. It's really subtle and kind of difficult to make out once again, but it's also printed over with black. So there's black print that's applied to the black legs. It's interesting because it gives just a subtle little difference. There's a slight difference in the gloss amount of the printed areas versus the just slightly more matte legs themselves when they're just plain. I like the face on this one. Has a nice expression to it, and the glasses, or the kind of semi-mask, it's pretty cool. It does come with that one single clear jewel piece, no printing on the back whatsoever, and the very old megaphone piece that's used as the base for the gun. And there's the rest of what there is to see with this face. Last on the official list is the Queen, who is styled to go well with the Series 13 King figure, but there's a lot more visual presence with the Queen here, with the garb and the interesting new piece that they brought in for her dress. We'll take a look at that just by itself in a second, but also check out the print that you can see from the front, and her face and her hair, which is molded in dark orange here. Has a single mini peg hole on the top of it to accommodate a crown or tiara piece. Nothing else that you can really see with all of the gown or the cape that's actually attached. With both cloth pieces removed, you can see the rest of the print that goes up towards the top of the torso. As for prints on the back of this one, nothing to be seen whatsoever, but yeah, check out that dress piece. That's just a bizarre new thing done just for this purpose. It's curved. Look at that. It's curved along two axes. It actually has a little bit of a different edge here on the back than it does on the front, just different radii. It's partly kind of geometric there. It's not completely curved around, but just a bizarre thing. And it is printed, so you're not going to get a whole lot of different uses out of this unless you kind of hide away that print, but I guess it could be an interesting piece to use for some interesting custom decorations of some sorts. Use them as curtains, window dressings and things. We shall see. And that's it. That's all 16 of them. Whew. Finally. It took me entirely too long to get through all those. Sorry about that. Post up a comment with your favorite of all of these figures, if you can pick just one. Unless you're like me and you can't pick just one, then pick your top 3 or 5. I'll give you my top 3. The Farmer, it's just a really interesting torso in particular. I also appreciate getting the pig. I'm also going to throw in the Animal Control Officer as one of my top 3. I also like the torso on that one and the inclusion of an animal. And then my last one is the toughest one to choose. I'm going to go with the Astronaut. I wish it had a little bit different face, a little bit more iconic face, But yeah, just the torso, all the prints on that one, the torso, the hips, and the legs, and also the flag piece. But there are a bunch of interesting figures here and a bunch of interesting elements that are included with these figures that give them their own unique value. Let me know your thoughts, what you think about these. Again, sorry for this being such a long video, but I'll be talking to you again very soon.